Welcome to the True Hunt, and today's maritime story is on the coastal tourism in India. For that, we have got two guests with us. First, we'll start with Mr. Rajesh Pravinchandra Doshi, who is a marine engineer from Directorate of Marine Engineering Training, Government of India at Mumbai and Kolkata. Apart from that, he is a member of the governing council of Narottam Morarji Institute of Shipping and a former honorary chairman of the Institute of Marine Engineers, Gujarat chapter. And currently, he is holding a position of CEO at Dwarka, Kutchh Ferries and Tourism Private Limited. And also, he is a founder of the firm. Next, we have got Captain Gajanan Karanjikar, a man who doesn't need any introduction, but still I'd like to introduce him. Captain Gajanan Karanjikar, who has been sailing with total experience of 17 years. Apart from that, he's a managing director at Cordilla Marine Services, UAE Maritime Consultant, G20 Consultant, CMMI Warden, President of All India Maritime Pilot Association. Sir, आप दोनों का बहुत स्वागत है. Sir, I'll start with Mr. Rajesh. Sir, my first question to you, as we are aware that there is a V-shaped structure of Indian coast, which can be marketed well, as this is said to be a USP for promoting the tourism in coastal areas. Please throw a light to start with.
I agree with you that there are advantages of a V-shaped peninsular structure, which our country is blessed with. And certainly there are 7,500 kilometers and more of the coastline. But there are a few factors which limit the usage in terms of shipping of both the coastal cargo as well as of passengers. Those are the facts that not every point on these 7,500 kilometers is really navigable and safe for ships to dock. The western coast has its own complications. There are 4 months of the year where the weather is so bad due to the monsoon that shipping in the open seas has tremendous limitations. And therefore, any project would have only 7 to 8 months operating life. Assets committed to such limited operating lives have a little different economics and therefore are not easy for businessmen to take up. Similarly, on the East Coast, there are certain seasons which are prone to very bad weather conditions. And we are aware the Orissa coast right up to Bangladesh is sometimes hammered by hurricanes and so on. Even the depths available on the ports on the East Coast are limited, except for 1 or 2 locations like Visakhapatnam. I do believe that there is a lot of work required to be done on port development, the infrastructure to connect ports to the road network and the rail network. Another small factor I would like to draw to your is that the island of Sri Lanka is a navigation hazard in a way, or an obstruction. It does not permit easy movement from the west coast of India to the east coast of India. And therefore, the economics by road going, say, from Kochi to Chennai, or even to that extent from Mumbai to Visakhapatnam, does not work out, do create a bit of an issue.
I'd like to bring in Captain Gajanan Karanjikar. Sir, your same question.
Namaskar, Gaurav. Thank you very much again for this maritime week of this topic is fantastically chosen as coastal tourism. Lead of the hour, I should say, because it is one of the very important sectors of the economy. So as far as the coastal structure is concerned, or I would say otherwise, that we are very strategically located as per the continent is concerned with respect to tourism. And we have so much opportunity in our country about tourism that nothing has been done. We are not walking any way. So if the government really explores the potential, we are a maritime nation, first of all, of a history of 3,500, 4,000 years. So we have so much of maritime history on the coast, which can be explored into a tourism opportunity. With this kind of a coast, and also the weather is going to play a very important role at times, because we always have, India in all 4 seasons and 3 seasons most of the times. So idea is to, have the tourists in all kind of weather. Plus, we have to look at that point as well, whether what kind of tourism facilities are going to develop. Infrastructural development is much needed. I mean, I look at Maharashtra itself, there are about 4 seaforts. So if you see even Chennai for that matter, there's so much of maritime, historical monuments where we need to convert them. One idea which came through was, importantly, was converting lighthouses into tourism spots. And that work is going on, but it is going on for last 10 years. So it is as good as nothing happened. Whatever opportunity we have, we should develop this non-emerging sector of blue economy, because blue economy, tapping potential in blue economy is about $3 trillion today. So our dream of $5 trillion, dream of Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, will definitely come to fulfillment if you walk the right path.
Sir, as you mentioned the dream of the Honorable Prime Minister, so I would like to read out some of the initiatives which has been taken in the recent past. And my question goes to Mr. Rajesh. Sir, I am reading out through some reports that we have drawn a program for developing tourism in the land adjacent to the 78 lighthouses. Apart from that, talking about the environment-friendly transport and tourism, in which operationalize 23 waterways by 2030. And apart from that, developing a contemporary water transport system in prime coastal states and cities, including Kochi, Mumbai, Gujarat, and Goa. Could you throw a light on this, please?
You see, I'm very happy that you mentioned, and even Captain Gajanan mentioned, the use of 78 lighthouses, because certainly the role of lighthouses is over in the 20th century. Now we are in the 21st, and there are electronic charts and so many other gadgets which make the role of the lighthouse very, very limited, only for certain situations. And therefore, to convert them to tourism sector makes a lot of sense, and it is certainly being put into effect by the Director General of Lighthouses and their team. There is a limitation. Not all the lighthouses have sufficient land around them for developing a good center for tourists, and some of them don't have a very easy access to the lighthouse, and therefore the progress is going to be slow. Certainly our tourism industry is not fully prepared for this water and land mix of tourism, and gradually this will grow, certainly. But what probably I have missed out in mentioning on the coastal tourism is that most of the shipping in the past thousands of years has been from the west coast of India westward and from the east coast of India eastward. And therefore, when we look at the prospects of even the cruise and the ferry services from the coast or along the coast, the coastal service on the west coast will be strictly or most likely only to the west coast, or moving outwards, let's say to the Gulf, UAE or East Africa, or even our own Lakshadweep Islands, Maldives. So the shipping would generally, as far as transportation of men and material in the coastal region, would be from the west coast towards these places. And on the east coast, say from Chennai or Paradip or Kolkata, would be towards our Andaman Nicobar Islands, Singapore, and a bit of Indonesia, Malaysia. The cruise business worldwide has been a very big attraction for even our own people from India. And you will be shocked at the percentage of international cruises being used by Indians who want to travel abroad.
Sir, I'm sorry to interrupt. As you mentioned cruise, so I would like to ask you that please throw a light on the Sagarika, the International Cruise Terminal, which was built in Kochi, that how it is doing. And recently also Mumbai has got also a new cruise terminal built up. So could you throw a light on these, that how they are working and how they are contributing towards the tourism, please?
I have not personally visited the Sagarika terminal in Kochi, but I have been to the Mumbai terminal, and the many concepts which are connected to tourism, both at the airport level and at the cruise level. They have tried their best to incorporate the systems there, both for the vessels to come alongside and for the people to easily go on board or come out and enter the city. Certainly, these two locations and the third one, Goa, is going to give very good returns in the future, but that route has to be established. And therefore, only when there is regular service that people tune in and use it on a well-planned basis. But certainly this is going to come through. The terminals have been properly done. The investments have been sensibly done. And I do see cruise services as a certainty for the Indian coast, both on the west coast as well as on the east coast.
I'd like to bring in Captain Gajanan Karanjikar. Sir, your quick words on the same question, please. International Cruise Terminal in India.
See, certainly only two terminals in the whole country are not going to serve the purpose of social connect. You see, I would like to bring in, of course, it is fantastically, these terminals are doing well. Bombay Port has its entire income strategy changed due to this the birth what they have created now, the terminal which they created now. They also generated a lot of employment in Bombay. But what I would like to say is that there are many more terminals like this required. You have to look at coastal tourism as a very good social connect, as Doshi sir really rightly said, taking people to ocean and connecting them to people who cannot afford the high price of the travel modes. They can use this, and this can be also a daily commute thing. We have to create those opportunities. The Indian tourism in India as such is doing very well. We have about 15 lakh crore revenue, every year out of tourism in India. We also have the entire industry is growing at about 10-11% CAGR. So we have a potential there. It's only a conversion of that tourism into a coastal is required. Indian government, I believe, recently has launched a program called Swadesh Jagar or Swadesh Sagar.
Swadesh Darshan.
Swadesh Darshan, sorry. So that can be also turned into a Sagar Darshan. And we can have that kind of a coastal tourism, included to that. Coastal tourism also will include the spots, marine spatial planning for creating coastal sports or water sports areas around the coast.
Sir, my question to Mr. Rajesh. Sir, now I come towards the inland water tourism. Sir, recently, if you are aware that BMC in Mumbai plans to transform Trombay Jetty into an eco-friendly tourism. Sir, how this would be bringing change and how this kind of initiatives would be more and more adapted in whole of India?
Well, you have picked up Mumbai, but I would probably want to start from Kochi. The reason is Kochi has already implemented electric ferry transport, or they call it boat metro. And although the response is a little slow, I hear there will be gradually an improvement and the people will get used to it. Now, Mumbai, although a little behind on the green transportation, primarily because there are already too many operators in the Mumbai to Navi Mumbai, which is the only operable area connection possible on the Mumbai coast. The west coast, the outer coastline is by its nature not very conducive for such transportation. And therefore, there are terminals designed, some built, and some in the process of being constructed. The only successful path so far these boat services have managed to lay down is the Gateway of India, Elephanta, because that being an island has not much of an option, and Gateway of India to Alibag, which Mandwa is the touching point, as well as the same thing from Bhauchadakka or Ferry Wharf to Mandwa, the Ro-Ro service. These have now settled down and established themselves. The Mumbai-Belapur route, which is the future, is gradually giving some promotion. But please remember, when we are dealing with Mumbaikars, economics plays a very big role in this city. You cannot offer something even 20% higher, however good it may look to be.
Sir, my last question to Captain Gajanan Karanjikar. Sir, as we are aware that Sagarmala project would be playing a big role in this Amrit Kaal. And of course, when we talk about Amrit Kaal, then we talk about Atmanirbhar Bharat also. So how the combination of Amrit Kaal and Atmanirbhar Bharat would produce a green marine tourism in India? Could you throw a light on that?
Gaurav, very good question that is, because this is what the quest of the Amrit Kaal 2047 vision is. Government is not short of announcing any schemes as such. Now it's up to the industry to come forward and utilize them in a right sense. Atmanirbhar Bharat, really, it meant that we don't lose our money in giving orders to the foreign countries. In this context, it is shipbuilding and indigenous shipbuilding, very importantly, which has been really taken up now. And second thing is that creating opportunities like inland waterways, just now you mentioned, all the national waterways, they contribute heavily to the maritime tourism and green tourism. Because as he rightly mentioned about the example of Kochi of electrical, and we've been using these rivers for transportation for ages. Had we not developed the roads in India, or not prioritized the road development in India, people would have still traveled by the rivers and got connected by the rivers. So such is the river connectivity to the public life is. So having said that, now Modi ji has come out with a very grand vision of Amrit Kaal 2047. Now this encompasses all 25 sectors, and maritime sector being the leading sector because they have somehow realized the potential behind this sector. The shipbuilding in India, indigenous shipbuilding in India with new technology is all going to augment and support each other and going to take this maritime green transportation way ahead.
Very well said, sir. As we are seeing indigenously built INS Vikrant, so there is a lot of hope from the country. Thank you so much,
Absolutely,
sir. Thank
absolutely.
you, both of you. Jai Hind.